Hello, Anya.
Hi.
How have you been in the past? What's it been? 2 weeks?
Oh, only?
2 weeks since
Feels
we did
like
the video?
feels
Something
like
like that.
longer.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
been
I'm
a
great.
while.
I'm back home in Germany and the
Indeed.
weather was nice
Yes.
and I'm good.
Came back from Greece.
Yes.
I was at Cloudfest, which was a banger. It was fantastic. I was only there for one day, but I got to meet Mark Zemansky, my bro from the US. And we spent a great day together, and I met a shit ton of really interesting people from the WordPress world, which is also one of the reasons why there hasn't been a Proforms video in a while. But a
But
lot
we're
has
back.
happened. A lot has happened. We did a whole bunch of work behind the scenes. What you're looking at right now, wait, are we looking at it? Yes, we are. What you're looking at right now is the version that we had at the end of the last video. So if you're watching this in a series, this should be very familiar to you. To me, this is ancient past. So what we have here, customize and order your translation. You can pick your country of issuance, and then, depending on how many things you, wait, let me actually reload that to show it how it worked when we last left it. So back down here, there was still the old one with all the footer and all that stuff. And then your order this was still visible. And I believe we mentioned at the end of the last video that we were looking for ways to make this invisible. And I can spoil this right here. I didn't find a good way. Yeah, that was kind of painful. And I think we talked about that it needs to be unordered lists. Like, first of all, these items here need to be ULs in LIs in a UL. And then down here, the order summary needs to be an unordered list as well, which was one of the reasons why this became a shit show a little bit. But so I can order stuff here. That already worked quite nicely. Everything here was well set up. And then down here, you get the list of the items that are on order. And yeah, it's just, there's no formatting here, right? So what I've done in the meantime is this. This is where we are today. So we have a full-fledged audio translation page with a nice header. That's just, actually, I just copied that header from the pre-existing page, right? Because it's the same. Then in the Saarland and around the world, we have this little disclaimer here. We're always here for you, guaranteed. Then the instructions. Here's how you order your translation. And then we got nothing. So I disabled the footer because for us, for Anya and me, when we were working on this, we didn't want to have those crazy loading times of loading all that gravity forms stuff every time. So what happens now is when we select country of issuance, nothing happens. Oh my God, oh my God. We need to also select a source and target language, because that's also what the user needs to do, right? You can't order something if you haven't set up which languages you want. And then we have the documents that are available here. You can see there has been a lot of styling has been done to this. It looks really nice now. You get the full price for each item on the card itself. You get the total down here now. It's no longer this big fat thing that just covers up half of your screen, but it's nice and neat nested down here. Then we have, just nice styling. I'm not going to talk too much about that. And you guys can just marvel at what a great designer I am just by looking at it. I'm not going to talk more about it. Your order summary is right here. And yeah, you can see I did a lot of styling here as well. I added the total at the bottom. And we decided that it doesn't really matter now. There's not really no more reason to hide it, because first of all, let's go back to this, right? If we have nothing selected, then nothing shows, not even the pieces of the summary. What was I saying? Yeah, like if there's nothing here, right? If we order nothing yet, then what happens is that your order summary is here, right? But then it just says total price 0. So I think like even the dumb users are going to understand that it's just you haven't ordered
There
anything.
are
And
no dumb users.
of
Come on. What are you
course,
talking about?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, where would they come from, right? They wouldn't exist
Not
anywhere.
from the Saarland.
No, certainly not from here.
Yeah.
Then there's personal data and shipping. So we basically put in all the fields that we're still missing. This here is a repeater. We're going to look through this in a moment. Additional information, any comments, questions, whatnot. And then the payment by bank transfer with a nice in the background a nice watermark. So how did we go from here to here? So today we're not going to rebuild this live for you because a lot of this stuff is really straightforward and it doesn't need too much explaining. I mean, we all know how to add, you know, these fields to the form. This is not rocket science. So we're just going to go through it quickly by looking at the finished product. So we start with this heading here, then we have the promise. It's just, you know, a div that I brought in. It's part of the container of the form. Then we have the intro, and inside the intro here we have dynamic data. This is an ACF field. I'm going to show you guys in a moment where this ACF field comes from. And Anya, I think you can do some explaining there because this was something that I'm still fairly new to doing. It was done by using an options page. And then we have the regional selections, right? I fixed up some of the labels here. So we have country, source language, target language. And then we have two conditional wrappers. One conditional wrapper is for the item selection. So this here, and actually it says div here, but actually this is a UL, right? So we have here the tag name is UL, and then the items inside are list items. So that's why we have this wrapper here. And none of the other stuff, the summary, pricing, etc., are not in here because everything in here is not going to be list items, right? So we need two wrappers. The conditions on this wrapper are 3 form fields now. So that country, something needs to be selected. Here something needs to be selected, and here something needs to be selected. So all 3 fields with the relation and need to be not empty in order for all of this to appear. I think that's also fairly self-explanatory. The items, I styled them, obviously. Then inside the li, we have the item name, and then we have hide if wrong country. You'll remember this from the previous videos. This is just like if the divorce decree is not available in some countries or for some source countries, then it's just not displayed in the first place. That's what this conditional wrapper is for. We have the item picker, which is this guy here, and then the item option. So I'm not going to recap all of that because I don't believe it's changed at all from the previous videos. Yeah, the previous stages of our build. And if anything, no, I don't think that's changed either. So Daniele has since released a new version of Bricksforge where, help me out here, Anya, you can use the live values as
Inside the text,
inside
like
the text.
anywhere?
You can use them as variables, right? So you no
Yeah.
longer need a live value field.
Yes.
You can just put them anywhere.
Yeah, you could write like in the sum like this item. You could write like any, like if you had the name collected beforehand, you could use the name anywhere. Like,
Right.
hi Matt, you ordered this and that, so you could use the name anywhere with a variable.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's actually a really nice use case for that. But so basically we could now do this differently, but then again, why change our running system? So we have here a hidden field, an item total field that just collects what this one item costs. Here's the formula for that, and then we told it to be an only remote field, so it's hidden. And then we have a live value field, which is the field that's actually displayed. Here we go. This is that. And it just tells us the value from that field. Connection form field ID, right? So there we go. Now, I'm getting a bit hoarse. I'm sick again. Like
Yeah,
in the
me
last
too.
6 months, it's been like, am I sick again or am I still sick? It's
Still,
always,
yeah.
So in the summary, pricing, etc., we have the heading, your order summary, and I needed to take that out of, wait a minute. Out of this, right? It used at first, I believe on day 6, it was still inside the summary div. But since this is going to be an unordered list, right? Like with all these things here being list items, translation items, which is a loop, and then the total, which is this list item, then we can't have an H2 somewhere in there, right? So that's why I needed to take this out of there. And the translation item here is, I believe, well, obviously we did the loop in the last video, so you guys should still have it in your mind freshly. Then we have data and shipping, which is really just a div
Field.
that contains, the
The shipping options, they were special. We can talk about that later.
personal data. Exactly, the shipping options we have to look into in a moment. So the shipping here is a select field, and inside there's another loop, which loops through the options, like no shipping, online translation, regular mail, and registered with drop-off. I'm going to look into how that was done. And then we have a heading, we have the basic texts, which is instructions.
You could
And
also move this to a custom field.
I was just going to, exactly, I
maybe.
was just going to say the same thing. This could go into a custom field. We can do that together. And then we have the payment here, and we have payment instructions, all right? So
Which could also be in the options page.
that's it. Yeah, both
So
of
the
these things are
customer
going to become.
can change it, and it will change on all your language. You will have
That's it.
different languages, so it's very smart to put this, at least the bank data and stuff, to put this in custom fields.
I was wondering if I just put the bank data in there, and then so that she could change that.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
yet.
not sure. Yeah, please
I might.
do it for the
I mean,
payment.
if it doesn't really at that point, it doesn't make that much of a difference if I take the whole text
Yeah, you
or
could
just the
use the
bank
whole text.
data.
It's easier.
Yeah, I think so.
But you will, yeah, I mean, the only thing I see here is that the format may change, because you have a nice format here, like with the bold bank and IBAN and
Yeah,
stuff. And if they start messing around, or you forget how you
true.
styled it, it's gonna look different on the different things. But
That's true.
it's
Yeah,
not so bad. I mean, could be worse.
yeah. I could be a watchdog for that.
Yes.
She's paying me. She has a service plan, so that's that.
Yeah, you can do the
Then
changes.
we have the legal thing. I've read and agreed to the privacy policy. That's just a checkbox, legal consent. I've read, and that's also pretty straightforward. It's just a required field. So if they don't click it, then nothing happens. This is not going to work. And then we have our submit button. On the submit button, we found out that you can't really easily use the ACSS features. So if you, let's say, let me remove this. So this is what it looks like by default, right? And I believe it's full width because something on the parent there's something here that makes it full width. I think on the parent there's a bunch of CSS that does that. Is it here? Okay, it's full width for some reason. Let's just pretend we know why it's full width. And if we put this, first of all, you could say I want to have style primary, and you would expect, because in ACSS we have this option on, where is it? Bricks enhancements. Use Bricks UI for buttons, right? So that's what ACSS introduced a while ago, where you can just use, you could say primary, secondary, and whatnot, and then it's just gonna, ACSS is gonna take over and then put its styles in there. So you would think that would work, but it doesn't. So if I go to style and say primary, we can see it gets this.
The bricks primary.
It gets the
It's
bricks
not the
primary.
ACSS primary.
Yeah.
So
So ACSS just is agnostic of Bricksforge. I would guess it just doesn't know. It's just, yeah, there's no
connection.
exactly. ACSS doesn't account for that. And then the next best thing would be to just say, okay, I'm going to give it an ACSS class. But then if I go btn primary, then this happens. The primary styling is wrapped around the actual button, which I believe is because there's an extra div in here that normally, if you just use a Bricks button, isn't there. But with Bricksforge, there's an extra div. So that doesn't work. But we found out that if you put the button primary class here as a CSS class, then it does the trick. So this might be good to remember. Might also be something for Daniele to look into. I don't know. If perhaps you find a way to get rid of that extra div. Perhaps it's not necessary. Or, I don't know. Perhaps, yeah, figure something out, Daniele. Come on. That's what I'm saying here. By the way, again, mad props to Daniela.
Yeah, he had so much work with us. And
yeah,
I
it's
still
crazy.
have some
Like
things
we're
in the
single-handedly,
pipeline.
yeah, making him regret he ever started this project. There was another bug that we found, and he went ahead and fixed it live together with us. Well, not live, but like while chatting with me on Facebook Messenger. Should we look at the backend? I think we should. Before we go, let's grab this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's take that with us. I'm going to take this, Control X, and we're going to go to the back end. So we went to options pages, right? That's the first thing we did. We made a new options page. We called it global options. So this options page is Really straightforward. The parent page is settings, so it's the global options page is here, right? And in the advanced settings, yeah, we did nothing here. We literally just made that page, and that
Yeah,
was
you
that,
don't need to
right?
do anything else.
Yeah. Then we added in new field groups for global options. And inside the field group, this is something that I actually want to ask you, Anya. We created a tab called translation options because later you could also put other kinds of options on that option
Yeah.
page, right? You can put a tab for whatever else.
Address,
Yeah, address.
images like logos. I put logos and
Yeah,
fallback images and everything in there.
yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of potential here. So I've been wondering, how does ACF know that something belongs into a certain tab? And I would guess that it's just a question of the order, right? Like you put
No,
a tab.
yeah, exactly. It's
Exactly.
just
So
everything that's behind this tab is in the tab, and then
if you make
the
another
next tab
tab,
opens another. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So it's just, yeah,
yeah.
it's just hierarchy.
I have some styling. I created some styling
Mm-hmm.
for the back end here
Mm-hmm.
because it's very hard to see what is if you have large option pages.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see what's a tab, what's a group, what's what. And I added some tab-like CSS, so it has rounded corners and it looks like a tab.
Right.
And some different colors. I can give you that or show you that. So it makes it easier to see where one tab ends and the other one starts and stuff.
Okay.
So.
So we have the form instructions, and that's just a WYSIWYG editor, right? It's called field label form instructions, and I believe I wrote a little bit about it. The form instructions appear at the top of the order form and explain how to use it, right? So these instructions here, up here, these are in that field. So now we're going to add two more fields. First one is going to be the payment instructions, which I just Control X'd. And then the next one is going to be additional information, this little bit here, right? And we're going to do both of that. So we're just going to need two more WYSIWYG editors.
You could copy the
Yeah, I
other
could just
one.
duplicate this one, right? Duplicate again. So we're going to call this one here comments instructions.
Maybe add form in the beginning so it's all clear.
Oh yeah, thank you.
In the,
Form comment instructions. Okay.
yeah.
And then we have the payment instructions or payment details. Form payment details. There. Visual and text full. None of this is now really straightforward. Save changes. And I want to have this above station options tab. As we get into the repeater, the shipping options can still be at the bottom, or should they be? No, let's make it in the order that this stuff appears in the form. So it would be here. Save changes. And now we go to the global options page, and in the form instructions is this. Then we have the shipping options. This is the repeater field that we did, right? So you can add a row. It has a price and a title. And if we look at the repeater here, this is how that's built. Shipping options. Right, that's the name of the repeater, shipping options, and then you can have a title and a price in there. There's text and a number field. And then we have comments instructions, and then down here we have payment details. Yes. So there's that. And then we go to these instructions here. And global options here. Bingo. And we save all this. There. Okay, let's see here the instructions, additional information, instructions.
Yeah, you deleted it. I mean,
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Instructions, comment instructions. And then we want to have at the end, we want to have payment. Here, payment by bank transfer. Oh, wait, we should get rid of the heading too. Okay, so here we need to put ACF payment details. And we get rid of the heading. Control Shift 2. No, Alt Shift 2. Payment. Pavement instructions. Let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about this thing. Originally, I wanted to get this effect, right? So I originally used here in this div a background. I think I put this in an SVG, like the favicon SVG in the background. the favicon. And actually, this is all PNGs because it's from a time when I didn't know how to do SVGs. So it was blue and red, but I wanted it to be desaturated, and I couldn't find a filter. And apparently it's not possible to desaturate a background image with CSS. There's filters for a bunch of other things. You can do hard light, soft light, and all that stuff, but you can't desaturate it and change its opacity, which is what I wanted. So that wasn't working. And then we tried absolutely positioning fixed positioning one, right? But then obviously that takes it out of the flow of everything. So it would just float over the whole page, the whole website, instead of doing what it's supposed to do here. And then I think we tried one more thing, didn't we? Was it something else?
I think we tried the SVG with the different options.
Mm-hmm. But then we found that you couldn't fix it, right? It was always scrolling. It was attached to it was scrolling with the thing. So in the end, what I ended up doing is I just made a PNG. This was done in GIMP. And I just made a PNG that was desaturated and had 20% or 15% transparency or opacity. So that's how I got there. How we did it in 2005. There's no reason why it shouldn't work today. I think the people are up to speed. The people know what we've been up to, all the mischief and flim-flam. This is a forum. I mean, this is a major step, I think. This is pretty cool, having this done. And now we can build the emails, which
now we have to take 5 weeks off to find out how to do that.
How to actually do this. And there's actually, we did figure out that there's a bunch of things that are not going to work as easily because we're using loops to bring all these items in, right? But then the same loops the results from those loops can't be put into the email. It doesn't.
Not yet. I mean, we talk to Daniel, and then we find out.
We're waiting for his answer. So we're going to have to sit down with him. Like we actually asked him if he's willing to sit down with us in a call and look through how we could put this into emails. But then once this works, what we're going to do is use the email designer that Bricksforge has, which Anya, you have some experience with it, right? You've used it before.
Very little.
Okay.
Very little. I can put together an email and send out some regular form data, but not something like this.
Right, exactly.
So
and then once all of that is done, translating that into German, Russian, and Ukrainian is going to be...
You can do that by yourself.
Yeah. It's going to come down to just making 4 copies of everything and then just manually translating everything, which is unfortunate, but I don't think there's templating or anything that we can do here. It's just we have to make all these fields again in all these different languages. If you don't want to use the translation tool, yes, that's what you have. Yeah, exactly. Or WPML. I mean, I made my bed. I'm going to have to lie in it. Okay, so we're good for today. Thank you, Anya.
You're welcome. Thank you.
A pleasure as always. And guys, we'll be in touch. See you soon. Bye.